The month I got my biggest raise, I didn't do a single thing differently. Same takeout, same show, same bedtime. I remember lying there around 11, waiting to feel something I assumed was automatic, and it just didn't show up. What did show up was quieter than that. Some tight background hum of worry I'd been carrying for years went quiet almost overnight. That part was real. But calm and happy turned out to be two completely different feelings wearing the same outfit. And for a long time, I couldn't tell you why one of them kept responding to money and the other one just stopped. There's a specific reason for that, and once you see it, you can't really unsee it in your own spending. I'm Jake, and I've spent way too much time making money mistakes, so you don't have to. So if it's not happiness that keeps growing with your income, what is it? Let's get into it. Here's the mistake I made for years, and I think most people make it too. I treated feeling secure and feeling happy like the same dial, turned up by the same thing, money. They're not. They're wired to completely different things. Security is the absence of threat, the question underneath every purchase when things are tight. Can this hurt me? Every dollar that answers no a little more confidently moves that dial. Happiness, the day-to-day version, isn't really about threat. It's the texture of an ordinary Tuesday, who you talked to, what you did with your actual hours. Money can clear obstacles out of that Tuesday. It's much worse at directly creating the good parts of it. That's the raise for me. It cleared threats out of my life that used to sit quietly in the background. It didn't add anything new to the texture of my Tuesday. Same takeout, same show, same bedtime. Just safer. Here's what I noticed once I actually started paying attention to this in my own life, instead of just accepting the discomfort and moving on. The security dial kept responding to money for a long time, further than I expected. Every raise, every dollar saved, chipped away at some specific fear. The car breaking down, a bad month at work, an emergency I couldn't cover. There was always another fear underneath the one I'd just paid off, so the dial had somewhere to keep climbing. The happiness dial stopped responding a lot earlier, and a lot more quietly. A slightly nicer dinner didn't make Tuesday more interesting than it already was. A bigger apartment didn't change who I talked to or what I did with my evening. The stuff that actually made a Tuesday good, a real conversation, doing something with my hands, being outside, laughing at something unexpected, money wasn't really involved in any of it, past a certain basic point. So you end up with this strange split, objectively safer year over year, not meaningfully happier year over year. And if you don't separate those two dials in your head, that gap feels like something's broken in you. It isn't. You're just still turning the one dial that responds and wondering why the other one won't move with it. You'd think understanding this would stop me from making the mistake. It didn't stop me. It just made the mistake sneakier. There was a stretch, about a year ago, where I picked up a bunch of extra freelance work specifically because I told myself it would make me happier. More money coming in, more of a cushion, more of that good feeling from the raise. I said yes to almost everything for about 4 months. I remember one specific Thursday. My phone buzzed at 6:40 with the group text. Court in 20? The same message I'd gotten every Thursday for 2 years. I looked at it, looked at the client deck still open on my laptop, and typed, "Can't tonight, swamped," without really deciding to. My thumb just did it. I didn't even feel bad in the moment. That's the part that scares me more, looking back, than if I had. 2 Sundays after that, my sister called at our usual time, and I let it go to voicemail because I was in the middle of a line of code I didn't want to lose my place on. I told myself I'd call her back that night. I didn't until Tuesday. My security dial went up a little that whole stretch. My actual Tuesdays got quieter, more isolated, more screen, less everything that used to make them good. And I wasn't even tracking the loss, because nothing about it felt like a loss in the moment. It just felt like being responsible. I didn't notice the trade I was making until Marcus mentioned, kind of offhand, at the one Thursday game I did make it to, that he hadn't seen me out there in months. He wasn't accusing me of anything. He just said it while we were stretching, barely even looking at me, and it landed like a small gut punch anyway. Because I realized I'd been optimizing the wrong dial for 4 straight months and calling it progress the whole time. I dropped 2 of the 4 freelance clients the next week. Not because the money didn't matter, because I'd finally noticed which dial I'd actually been moving and which one I'd quietly let go slack. I have a friend, not Marcus this time, a guy from my old office, who is, by any reasonable measure, financially further along than almost anyone else I know. Paid off house, real savings, no debt, no fear-based decisions of any kind left in his life that I can see. He's also one of the flattest people I know to just sit and talk to. Not sad exactly, just low texture. Every conversation with him eventually drifts to the numbers, because the numbers are the part of his life he actually tends to. He mentioned once, almost proudly, that he hasn't taken a day off in over a year because there was nothing pulling him away from work. I think he solved the security dial completely. I don't think he ever noticed there was a second one. And watching him, I understood something I couldn't have gotten from a spreadsheet. Maxing out one dial doesn't move the other one for you automatically. You still have to turn it yourself, on purpose, and it's entirely possible to get extremely good at ignoring that it exists. So here's the actual unglamorous thing I do differently now. I ask which dial a decision is actually for before I make it. Not as a rule against spending or working, just as a question. Is this going to make a Tuesday safer, or is it going to make a Tuesday better? Both are worth doing. They're just not interchangeable. And treating them like they are is how I ended up missing basketball for 4 months while telling myself I was making progress. I also stopped expecting the security dial to eventually spill over and fix the other one. It doesn't. I've tested that theory more than once now, and it's never once been true. The Tuesday has to get better on its own terms. A person, a place, something with your hands, and no amount of the other dial substitutes for it. I still think about that night after the raise. Same takeout, same show, same bedtime. Just quieter underneath, in a way that was real and worth having. I used to think that quiet was supposed to turn into something bigger eventually, that safety was just happiness with a running start. I don't think that anymore. I think they're just 2 different things you have to build separately, and one of them will happily let you ignore it for years while you make real progress on the other. If you've ever felt more secure than you used to and wondered why you don't feel happier to match, I don't think anything's wrong with you. I think you're just looking at the wrong dial. Tell me, when's the last time something made your Tuesday better, not just safer? I read every comment, and if you want more of this, subscribe, because the psychology behind the money decisions we make and rarely separate out honestly is exactly what this channel is about. I'm Kate. I'll see you.